Hey, before I start the video, I just really want to say something about the tragic news that sort of shocked everybody worldwide today about the death of Robin Williams. And I just really hope that his friends and family can find peace, and his fans can find peace in the decision he made, and hopefully be able to honour his life as they move forward in their own. And I just really hope that, he can now finally rest in peace. So, as a sort of add on from that, it sort of got me thinking about, when something horrible happens like that, how how does it feel to be the people that are left after somebody, after somebody either commits suicide, or what's it like living or being around somebody with a mental illness, depression, grief, anxiety, etc. What is it like for the other side to have to be around that? So I thought today's video would be about sort of how the other side feels, to sort of give an insight to people who have a mental illness, sort of what's it like for the people who are there for them, take care of them, and just want to be their support. So I spoke to my family, I spoke to friends, and I spoke to other people via the group. And I got some very good insights as to what, the other people feel. And it was a bit of an eye-opener for me as well. So one of the major things that kept coming up was that they don't understand it. They really don't understand what, they don't understand what's causing us, people with a mental illness, what's causing them so much pain to make them do something like self-harm, suddenly not want to leave their room, cry all the time, or commit suicide. They don't understand. That's one of the key things, and the main thing that they all kept saying to me was they don't get it, they don't understand it. So, and I can understand their confusion, because before I got the mental illness, I didn't understand it either. So I can sort of see their point, that it is a very hard thing for them to understand and get. And another thing that kept coming up was, they feel that it's selfish, and I can understand that, because with a mental illness, you sort of then, you focus on yourself, all the pain and everything, and it becomes all about you. You become very selfish yourself, because you concentrate on yourself. You sort of you can't take on many other people's problems. You have to concentrate on your own, and I can understand why it's seen as selfish. And also, if you self-harm or commit suicide, I can understand why the other people, family or friends around you, think it's selfish. Because another thing that came up with, this is sort of the suicide end of it, was that your pain might be ended. You commit suicide, your pain might be over. You've died, the pain and suffering ends for you. But what about the people that you leave behind, with the knowledge that you would rather be dead than spend time with them? The knowledge of, that we weren't worthy enough for you to stick around. We weren't enough for you to live. And I think that was one huge eye-opener for me, because I tried committing suicide several times. So it was sort of an eye-opener for me, hearing it, that, what it's like for some. I mean, you think about, but they'll get over it. But then it's, you don't really think about how bad it would affect knowing knowing you weren't enough to save somebody from, the person you love, from killing themselves from you. So that was another thing that kept coming up, that it's very selfish of them, and then it can, that it is very, the pain that will be left behind is horrible, and they never would get over it. So I could really see the point of, our pain might end once we commit suicide, but we're leaving behind not only the loss of that person, but then the knowledge enough that they weren't enough to stop the person they love from doing it. So I think that was a really eye-opener for me, that sort of helped me understand a bit more into knowledge why people, family and friends, are so adamant about talking and stuff. and, you know, not, because now I finally understand their point of view about the suicide. So that really helped me. So I hope that point helps you too. Also, that kept coming up was the secrets, and, you know, people with mental illness or self-harm or, you know, suicide or grief, you all keep a lot of secrets. You keep the pain you have inside. And, you know, I can understand that, because you don't want to burden people, because I can see it from, you know, the person with the mental illness point of view. But quite a lot of the people I spoke to also kept saying that, you know, how would you feel if you knew that a person you loved was in so much pain, but they refused to talk about it, they refused to let you help, but they would all, but they're fine confiding in a doctor, they're fine confiding in a stranger, but they're not fine confiding in either your family or your friends? How would that, you know, how would that feel to you? And I understand that, because I was sort of thinking about, you know, if I had a friend or, you know, a family member that I could see was hurting so much, and I really wanted to help, but they refused and adamant not to do it, but they were okay confiding in a complete stranger. I could see, you know, that the upset that I would feel, you know, that I'm not, you know, then they don't trust me enough to confide in me. So that was quite another big point that kept coming up, and I sort of, you know, I can see that, because it took me months to even confide in a little bit in my family. So I can only just sort of imagine what they were feeling, knowing that I was going through so much pain, but me never letting them in enough for them to help me. So that sort of, you know, really did open my eyes. Also, it sort of, I don't know if this happened with other people, but I know it happened with my mum, for example, that their life suddenly, some of their life then starts to revolve around you. And not all of their life, because, you know, only certain aspects. Like, for all of a sudden, my mum had to go with me to all these doctor's appointments, these therapist appointments. You know, she had to change, you know, her working hours to fit around all these medical appointments, therapy sessions, you know, and it was stressful for her as well, and I can imagine, you know, it was stressful for my friends and other family members as well, because their life had to change. But it was a very stressful time for my whole family, you know, everybody having to change their schedules so that somebody, or mostly my mum, could take me to a therapy session, or that I wasn't alone for long periods of time, because, you know, trust is also another issue, I think, because this is more for the people side of self-harm and suicide. You know, if you've committed suicide but haven't succeeded, especially self-harm, is once your friends and family know, they go into this paranoid state of, you know, even people I spoke to said it, that they don't feel they can trust you with anything sharp. You know, anything sharp object, even babies, you know, nail scissors, anything that could cut your skin or hurt you in any way. They don't trust you. They don't trust you to be alone for long periods of time. And that, I think, also caused a lot of stress on, you know, the family members and friend members as well. Because they have to, you know, we think our pain is so bad, but we also can't see the pain we're reflecting onto other people around us, because we're so concerned about putting one foot in front of the other, you know, getting through this hour to make it to the next, that we're not seeing the horrible effect our behaviour is having on everybody else around us. We're not seeing all the stress, you know, the hurt, you know, the trust issues, the everything that's we're doing is taking effect on them. And I really think that people with mental illness should sort of, you know, still focus on them, because it is, you need to get through it, but also don't forget to, you know, also don't be so selfish about yourself, you know. Make sure you're not adding on to someone else's issues and pain by making it all about you. So I think that's really, really important. Also, you know, it really is hard when you know, seeing somebody going through so much pain, that it can affect other people and create their own issues. So I really think that, you know, if you see a family member or friend member going through something, don't just ignore it because you have to focus on yourself. Help them out. You know, be there for them the way that they've changed their whole life to be with you. Because no matter what pain we're going through, they're going through pain as well from having to look after and watch the pain you're going through. So I really think that we all need to sort of look in and around each other, because when one person, I think it's seen as one person has mental health issues. But to be honest, if you look at me, I'm the person with mental health issues, but then it affected my whole family and friends around me. And because my whole family had to change their routines, it upset their life watching my pain I was going through, adding on to the pain they're already, you know, issues they already have, and that would affect, you know, their social life, their work life, and everything else. So I really think when there is a person with severe mental health issues, it could be anything, it doesn't just affect that person, it affects their whole support network, their whole friends, their family, everybody around them. It affects everybody. And, you know, maybe the people around them aren't, you know, self-harming or committing suicide, but it's still killing them and really hurting them to have to watch their loved one, you know, debate whether if they're worthy enough to stick around for. So I really think that, you know, the person that's having the mental health issues shouldn't stop concentrating on them, because you do have to focus on yourself. You do have to work through all your issues. You do have to, you know, take one foot in front of the other. But I also honestly believe that that doesn't mean that your pain should become someone else's pain. It just means that you could help lessen the pain that your family and friends are feeling by opening up a little bit, and, you know, or just watching to make sure you have their back. So that was sort of an insight into what the other side feels like. So I really hope that it's been useful, and once again, I really hope that the friends and family and the fans of Robin Williams will find peace at some point in their life. So thank you very much.